Welcome back to the channel. This is our 8th lesson of our free complete beginner to advanced Microsoft Excel course. And in this lesson, we're going to be understanding what a custom list is, how we can use custom lists to autofill items in Excel, as well as using custom lists to perform custom sort orders. But before we get started, if you'd like to grab the files that I'm going to be using in this lesson so that you can follow along, check the link in the description of this video. Otherwise, for now, let's head over into the lesson. Now, a custom list is a predefined list of items that can be used to autofill. We can also use custom lists to do sorting of our data. And by default, Excel provides 4 lists of items that we shall be going through. And these are the default custom lists. You can't easily edit these items. I'll show you where these items are located. We can create our own lists. That's what we're going to be doing today. And those items that we add in our custom lists will be available for autofilling, and we can also use them in a sequence or sorting our data. Now, the available options here that are predefined is you can autofill the days of the week, both in the short form and the long form. You can also autofill month of the year. We can also autofill numbers. So these numbers are already inbuilt inside the brain of Microsoft or inside the brain of your computer. And this particular autofill works on a pattern recognition. You need to give Excel a clue on how it should actually autofill your items. Then the number 4 is we can create our own custom lists. Why do we need autofilling? This one helps us to quickly populate cells with repetitive or sequential data, and we can work with dates, numbers, and formulas as well. Excel autofill, like I did mention, operates on a principle of pattern recognition. Now let us start with inputting our regular numbers here. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but instead of doing this, because this might seem tiresome, I can actually type at least a few numbers just to give Excel a clue. I can type 1, 2, and then use my fill handle to autofill. That action is what we call autofilling. I'll just Control Z and use these 2 numbers as a pattern. So if I use my fill handle here to do the autofill, as you drag, the numbers will show on the sides there. You can see now it's giving me 9. I drag to the next one. It gives me 10, 11, 12, and so on. I can drag all the way through to a million throw. Depends on how huge the list you're working with is. So when I release my mouse, this will give me these numbers, and it is just incrementing with a 1. Similarly, I can work with odd numbers. Remember, we said that autofilling works with pattern recognition. So if I say 1 and the next number that I punch here, let's say, for example, I do a 3, like so. So I can drag on this one. You can see it is giving me 7, 9, 11, 13, because it's actually reading from the few records that I have given. This is an inbuilt behavior, pattern recognition. I can drag, and you can see it will keep giving me odd numbers only. Let us do maybe a 2 here, and I will do a 4. Now these are only even numbers. I can still come back to my fill handle and drag. I'm just giving Excel a tip on what I'm interested in, and it will autofill these numbers for me. Similarly, we can write a simple formula here. So I'll say equals sequence. Now this one requires that we give the number of rows. How many rows do you need me to populate? Maybe I need 11 rows. How many columns? Of course, this is optional. It's an optional argument. How do you tell that a function argument is optional? Whenever you see a square bracket surrounding a function argument, then just know, even if you don't give that particular argument, the formula will still work. Okay? How many columns? I can jump this one. And what is the start number? I can say start from 1 and step this particular selection with maybe a 1 as well. Let me check if this sequence will run. I'll enter, and there you go. You can see I've just declared. Just go through 11 rows and populate these numbers. Start from number 1 and increment with a 1. I can use a function like that. I can edit this function. Maybe I say start from 15 and increment went with a 2, just as an example, and I enter. This one starts from 15, 17, 19, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these were 15 rows. I can actually change this one or amend the sequence function, can say 15 so that we fill the entire range. We can also autofill the days of the week. And I did mention that these days of the week, so we have the short form of the day of the week and the long form. We can also autofill this one. So if I'm working with days, maybe my week starts on Monday and my next day is Tuesday, and I can now use this particular pattern here. I've just given Excel Monday and Tuesday. Now, when I use my fill handle and drag like so, you see, it will keep giving me these days in their order. But where are these things coming from? If I just Control Z and I say MON, the short form for the weekday, TUE, the short form for Tuesday, and I drag, you see what happens? It still gives me the days of the week in the short form. Where are these things coming from? Can someone tell us? And that's what we have come to work out today. Yes, we are autofilling the days, but where are they coming from? That should be a question for someone who is a beginner to Excel. We can also autofill the month here, Jan. Let me start with January. I can go for February. Now I can drag using this pattern here. I know Excel will recognize this pattern. So as soon as I use my fill handle, this particular text will show up. We can also autofill the short form for our month names. I can say Jan, Feb. Now, instead of me typing March, April up to December, because that's what most of us do, maybe because we don't know that these things can be auto-filled, we end up consuming a lot of time there. We can also autofill the years. I can say 2011. Maybe I can also say 2012. And now when I drag these, because these are already numbers, now when I drag using my fill handle, this should increase because these are the regular numbers that we are used to. But again, you can customize this and grow it the way how you want. Maybe I'll say equals, I open the sequence function. I'll say for the rows, how many are these? I believe they are around 15. I'll say 15. I want to start from 2024 and I want to step just increase by 1 and then close off the sequence. And when I hit enter, you can see I've generated or auto-filled the years from 2024 all the way through to 2038, like so. Now let's go in and look at where these particular things that we are auto-filling, especially days of the week, months of the year, where are they coming from? To locate where they come from, you'll come over to the file menu, or if you don't do that, make sure that you can right mouse click a little bit faster in your ribbon and say customize ribbon. Once you do that, this will launch into the Excel options here. And when you're here, make sure you click inside the advanced tab. Now, when you are here, scroll all the way down. For our people who are just new, please scroll with me all the way down until you see this option here, create lists for use in sorts and fill sequences. That's what we have been doing. This is where these things live. This is where you can configure them. Now, what we'll do here is to click on this edit custom lists, and this is the dialog box that you will see. So you can see where these things that we are autofilling, where they are coming from. They are here. Excel gives you a predefined list, 4 of them, the short form of the days of the week, the long form of the days of the week, those are 2, the short form of the month of the year, and the short form, the long form of the month of the year. But the beauty is that we have the new list option here. What this one does is that we can use it to create our own items that we can autofill. Now, how do we demonstrate this? Let us move forward and check what is on the next worksheet here. But before I do that, maybe we can create a small list here. Let me just go back. Options, advanced, scroll all the way down until I see edit custom lists. Now, if for example, I want to create my own custom list here that I want to use in my autofill, I can come here and click on new list and start punching in here the records, all the values. I can say I want to autofill these names. Maybe they are staff names. I'll say Godfrey. I also say Raphael. I'll say Minor. I will say Geoffrey. Maybe I can add Musa I can add Moses. So this is a list that I keep working with a lot. I'm just assuming. And I come here and configure it as a custom list. I will say add, click on this button here. Once you click here, add, it will come available, or it will become available here. Initially, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, but now we have added another column here. Sorry, another row of our new custom list. And this is just a list of names that I've typed here. Now, assuming that I want to use this custom list, let me just remove this particular heading here. And I say staff list. Now, I want to populate this staff list that I've just created inside my custom list. And I want Excel to autofill it for me. What I need to do is to give a few names inside that particular list. For example, I'll come here and say Godfrey. I believe I typed this name, and I also say Raphael. This is the pattern that I've given to Excel. Now let me just grab these two records that I've given and use my fill handle. I drag down like so, and I'm just crossing my fingers if this one will work. Absolutely, like so. Now you can see if you are in human resource, I've already generated my entire staff list in just dragging and dropping. Now I can proceed and add more columns here. This is now the plain example of creating your own custom lists, and we have seen where they actually come from. We have autofilled here, Godfrey, Raphael, all the way through to Cisse, and maybe we want to add Adai Emmanuel. Adai Emmanuel is not in the list. So what you do, you come back to the file menu, come back to options, and head over to your day advanced tab. Scroll down until you move over to edit custom lists here. And when you come over to your existing custom lists here, you can actually edit this list. Let me just add a die and say add. And then I say, okay. Now, when we autofill again, I'll just remove these records here and drag my fill handle. Let us check if a die will show up here. I believe a die will show. So whenever you want to autofill something that is not existing, go back and update it so that it exists. I'll move over to this particular worksheet that is called staff list. And I have this particular list of names, the date they joined, the month, the year, the experience they have, the monthly salary, and their rank. Now, the question here comes, they want you to sort this list based on the rank. Of course, they have given you the ranking order. We know that the generals will be sitting on the top, the lieutenant general comes in second. This is the ranking order that they have at that organization. Now, the challenge comes here, they want you to sort this list based on this ranking order. Now, this is where the custom list becomes a little bit helpful. So let us create our custom list first. And which custom list are we creating? The ranks that have been given to us. So I'm going to be adding them here as well. I use minus approach. I could come and type here. I say general on top, lieutenant. This is lieutenant, like this. You can punch in these things. But of course, for me, I already have the list. I'll not waste time here creating the list from scratch. I'll just import this list. So I'll click here and come back to the ranking order. Highlight this range. So this is what we call importing a custom list. Once you do that, you click in here, the list will appear in its order, and then I can just confirm and say add. It will be available here as a custom list that I can use either to autofill or to do custom sorting. Let's say okay, and now I can also come and say okay right here. Now, if I want to sort here, I just right mouse click and then come back to sort by custom list, because we can't do A to Z. A to Z will just give us alphabetical. It understands the alphabetical order. If we do Z to A, this also understands the alphabetical arrangement. Our interest to do a custom, and we can't say put selected color. These ones will not work. We have to go custom. So that's what you do. This will open the sort dialog box, and we need to declare the column that we need to sort by. We want to sort by the rank, and we want to sort based on the cell values, the ranks that are sitting in that column. And in here, the order, we can't go A to Z, we can't go Z to A. Our interest to do custom list, and our custom list has been created here. Just point on it and say, okay. There you go. Now, when I hit OK button here, I will get my list sorted. And you can see our generals are now sitting on top. Our lieutenant generals are following up. Our major generals coming in next, and so on and so forth. Like we always say, practice makes permanent. If you are not practicing what you're learning, please, you are wasting a lot of your time. So what I would encourage you is make sure you practice what we are teaching here. Now we are going to be heading into our next lesson. Please watch the video that is showing right here, or this one that is showing right here. Let us meet in those videos. See you then.